It's time to fire this thing up.
Welcome aboard ShipShape TV Essentials. This is your port of call for the most impactful upgrades, expert advice, and hands-on solutions from seasons past. This episode is proudly brought to you by SureHold, because anything worth doing is worth doing bright. From cleaning to protecting and perfecting, SureHold has everything you need to keep your boat shining. Don't just go boating, go showboating. Now, let's hoist anchor and set a course for another exciting episode of ShipShape TV Essentials.
If boating's your game, then you'll agree. ShipShape is the way to be. Out on the lake or on the sea, ShipShape means trouble-free. ShipShape means being neater. ShipShape makes boat work easier. ShipShape is the way to go. The ShipShape Boat Care Show.
ShipShape, America's favorite boat improvement show, is being brought to you in part by Stella Marine, a crest above the rest, with 2 locations to serve you. And by RPM Diesel Engine Company, so much more than an engine company. And by Boathouse Discount Marine. If you need it, we probably have it. And by West Trek Yachting Center, where you can experience the privilege of ownership without the expense.
Thanks for tuning in to ShipShape, the Boat Improvement Show. I'm John Greviskis, and this is my partner, Burdell.
Howdy, folks.
We're on location today at the Chapman School of Seamanship in Port Salerno, Florida.
Today's show is going to be about gelcoat repair.
We've had tons of requests to cover today's topic, and it's finally going to happen. But first, I'd like to introduce a new sponsor to ShipShape, Snakesider Boat Shoes. And if you can pan down on these babies and take a look, Bert, what do you think?
John, them shoes are just too cool, bud.
You're right. And as always, if there's a suggestion for a project that you'd like to see covered, write us a letter or send us a fax.
Write down your inquiries and send them to ShipShape TV, P.O. Box 31561, Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, 33420. Or fax us your suggestions at area code 561-626-4348.
And remember, guys, if we use your suggestion on the show, you'll receive an official ShipShape t-shirt. But right now, we need to hear a word from our sponsors, so stick around, because when we come back, Bert and I are going to dive into today's project, which is some gelcoat repair.
Give your prized items a better-than-new look with SureHold Buff Magic. This buffing compound works as a metal polish and rubbing compound for your boat, car, and other home equipment. Buff Magic is specifically formulated to remove oxidation and surface defects, restore that quality showroom shine, and provide a deep, rich finish in one easy step. Proudly made in the USA, SureHold Buff Magic is the ultimate restoration compound. SureHold, clean and simple.
Welcome back. Today we're going to show you how we repair a gouge in gelcoat. Now, Bert, what tools and materials do we need for today's project?
John, I got them laid out here on the tailgate of the truck. What we're going to need, you're going to need some wet sanding paper.
Now, we have 320 grit, 400 grit, 500 grit, and 600 grit. Is that correct?
That way we can get it right down nice and smooth. You'll need a utility knife, sanding block. It's good to have some surgical gloves,
okay,
artist brush, acetone. You need some good, really good quality tape, some stirring sticks naturally.
Sure.
This device right here, we're going to put our PVA in it and be able to spray it over our gel coat once we got it all in there.
Okay.
You'll need a dust mask and some nice clean rags. Also, it'd be good to have a pair of safety glasses also.
Okay, sounds great. Well, what's the first thing that we're going to need to do to get into today's repair?
The first thing we're going to do is we're going to trim back our gouge here, see if we can flake off any loose gel coat. This way, when we put it on, we'll get a good bond, because you don't want this thing to start flaking off when you first put it on.
So you're actually deepening the gouge?
Well, yeah, we'll, kind of trim it back, because all this stuff here is fractured right here. me just get it cleaned out. That way it won't pop off on us. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some 40 grit, piece of 40 grit sandpaper, and we'll just kind of bevel back these edges here.
That's to give us a nice adhering surface.
Yeah, you know, once we put our gel coat in here, it'll really bond really good. And you won't even be able to tell where this gouge was. Okay, that looks like that should do it. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape off this area before I wipe it or anything. That way, when I do wipe it, I won't be dragging any wax that may be out here into our cracked area and letting the gel coat pop off.
That's really a good idea.
When you're doing this job, you want to make sure that you have a very good quality tape, because if you leave this tape on in the sun and you use a cheap tape, you come back to take it off, you'll find out that it's really baked into the boat and it can be a real pain. So if you buy good tape, you can come back a day or two later and you can peel it right off and you won't have a problem. And when you're dealing with your boat, the less problems you can have, the better off you are. Keeps you a good mental attitude. All right. All right, I put some gloves on to protect my hands. It's kind of a good idea when you're working with chemicals to go ahead and put some surgical gloves on. That way it kind of keeps your hands from getting sticky also. What we'll do is we'll take some gel coat and I'm going to drop it on the cardboard here. And what we're going to do is let it sit in the sun and kind of thicken up. Take about 15 minutes, let the sun kind of sit on it. That way, working on the side of the boat there, it won't really run off on us. And for this much gel coat, all you need is like 1 or 2 drops. If you put more than that in there, like let's say up to 4 drops, you don't really have to be too concerned. It's not really going to hurt it. But if you put, let's say 7 or 8, it could change the color of the gel coat. And what you want to do is just start all over again.
Well, a good rule of thumb is you want to use like anywhere from 0.5% to like 4% of the hardener.
That's right.
In the gel coat.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit right here in the sun, let it thicken up for about 15 minutes, and then we'll drop the hardener in and then we'll apply it to the hull. We're ready to drop our hardener in our gel coat. 1 to 2 drops will do it. 1, 2, there we go. Stir this up. Stir our hardener in real good. It's easy working off a flat piece of cardboard instead of pouring it into like a paper or cuspidor or something. Get this all mixed in here real good. Hey John, would you do me a favor and open that package of artist brushes, please?
Sure. What size do you want?
We want to pick out a brush that's about the same size as our gouge up there.
Okay. Well, that looks to be the end one. Let's go ahead and get that one out.
And if you could do me a favor, go ahead and take our PVA and pour it into our paint pot there, please.
Sure.
And I'm going to go over and apply our gel coat into our crack.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got this stirred up good enough. Let's see, I want the smaller one there. Try this one here. we're going to take our gel coat and push it right down into the bottom of our gouge. And when you're doing this, you'll see little air bubbles come up. Just keep pushing it right in there. Build it up nice and thick, because then we're going to sand it back down.
So you want to build that above the surface. You just don't want
Yeah,
to
you want to bring it
flush.
right up. Yeah, you want to bring it right up above the surface. You know, nice. Don't worry about how high you get it. The more you lay in there, the better.
Okay.
And you can start out with your sandpaper, your wet sandpaper, and you just graduate down.
Now that PVA, what's the advantage of using that, Bert?
What you do is you spray that over your gel coat,
Uh-huh.
and it allows it to, all the solvents to come to the top, and it kicks off.
So the surface won't kick if you don't use that
Yeah.
PVA.
You
It'll
need-
always stay soft and tacky,
Yeah,
right?
it won't. The gel coat will kick off, but it'll always be gummy, you know.
Right.
Dirt will stick in it and everything, and you definitely don't want that.
You don't want that. So the PVA, that's polyvinyl acetate.
That's right. Let's get this stuff built up here.
Now, do we have to let it dry at all before we put the PVA on, or
Spray it right over it.
spray it right on it? That looks like it's filling in nicely, Bert.
Yeah, gel coat's actually very easy to work with, believe it or not, once you learn it.
Now, what would happen if you accidentally spilled some of that on the hull?
We'd take our acetone, put it on a nice clean rag, and just wipe it off.
Okay, so that's what the acetone's for.
Yeah. I use acetone for when I make a mess, you know, which I do almost all the time.
You've
so.
been known to do that.
Yeah, you know, kind of like Messy Marvin.
Now, one thing you don't want to do is use that acetone to clean out that gouge, because you're going to be pulling some wax
You could, yes, you could.
into the area we're going to be repairing. So don't use the acetone and wipe it down first. Keep that away from the repair area.
Stay tuned. ShipShape's heading right back at you.
Hi, I'm Barry Burhoff with Surehold Industries. Look at this guy and all the stuff he needs to maintain his boat. I guarantee you he'll be tripping on that all day long. Forget that nonsense. Use the Surehold family of products featuring the one handle that does it all. Surehold has over 40 different quality attachments that easily locks into place. Deck brushes, mops, squeegees, scrubbers, paddles, boat hooks, and even a camera adapter. Whether it's for your car, truck, RV, or boat, keep it clean and simple with Surehold products.
This week on Rules of the Road, we'll look at Florida's strict law on operating a vessel while under the influence of alcohol or drugs. As the weather gets hotter, I see more and more people drinking while boating. The legal level of intoxication while operating a vessel is 0.08%, the same as driving on the street. But alcohol's effects can be magnified by fatigue after a day on the boat in the sun, wind, and waves. Alcohol use is the second leading cause of boating accidents. The first is operating carelessly. Most people that die in boating accidents either fall out of the boat or capsize their boat, and balance is the first thing you lose when you drink alcohol. If an officer thinks that you may be under the influence of drugs or alcohol while operating a boat, you may be asked to submit to testing. Penalties for operating under the influence include fines up to $2,500 and imprisonment up to 1 year. If a drunken operator causes serious bodily injury or kills another person, the penalties can jump to 15 years in prison, with fines up to $10,000. As you can see, it's always best to designate a sober skipper, a person who will not be drinking and can operate the boat. I'm Officer Christian with the Florida Marine Patrol. See you on the water.
I'm again with my good friend Carlos Ruiz of Boaterama.
How you doing, John?
I'm doing well. This is a nice boat that we're going to be taking a look at. This is the new 2802 Bayliner Trophy, and this is unlike any trophy that I've ever seen before, Carlos.
This is incredible. What we done with this, we discontinued the 2502, that was our big trophy. We built the 28, and as you can see, this is an incredible boat.
Well, you know, boaters always say bigger is better, and Bayliner has come to the dance with a bigger boat. This is a big, beefy 28-foot fishing boat. How big is the beam?
10-foot beam. And you're right. People were coming by us, when are you going to build a 28? When are you going to come with a 28? Well, we have the 28 now.
It's here. Big walk around, big, huge cabin. This boat will sleep easily 6
persons.
This is not a weekend boat. This is not a day boat. This is a serious fishing machine where you want to cruise and go for a week. I mean, boom, you're set up. We're talking sinks. We're talking big, huge stand-up head and shower, built-in bracket. What kind of power options?
Okay, standard. Twins 150s. You can upgrade them to Twins 175 or Twins 225.
So if you really want to go fast, you've got those options.
You got the power.
Unbelievable. This is the second boat out of the hull. The first boat, I heard the president of Bayliner said, "Hey guys, I'm kind of keeping this
is
one.
mine.
This is mine.
They won't let it go.
This is an unbelievable boat. You're talking about the second one out of the boat. You probably can't see this in all 4 of your stores.
Unfortunately, no. But this is an order boat, okay? We're gonna have them in all our stores, but you can come and see this boat at Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. Now let's talk about those 4 locations. Where can we go to a Boaterama?
Okay, simple. Miami, North Miami, Biscayne and 135th Street.
Now that's right on the water. If you were going down 95, you get off at 135th and head east till it dead ends, right on the water, Boaterama.
Fort Lauderdale, 441 between Griffin and 84.
Okay, now that's a super big location as well. You've got the Pompano store.
Opens Wednesdays and Thursday now to 8 o'clock.
Now that's really special. So if you're working, you can get down to the Pompano store after hours, 6, 7 o'clock, you're working until. You still have time to get down Wednesdays and Thursdays to the Pompano store, which is just a little north of Copans on Federal Highway. And then you have this new
Our new store in Palm Beach.
Right.
We just purchased Palm Beach at Center.
Absolutely, which is in Hypoluxo.
And Federal.
On Hypoluxo and Federal in southern Palm Beach County. Now, Carlos, the 2802 is just a big sister ship of the 1802. You know, for the past several weeks, we've been talking about the trophy series.
Line.
And, you really do want one of these trophies. You want this on your wall. Not your wall in your home. You want this on your seawall.
Seawall.
When you talk about the trophy series, you've got the 2503.
2509s, 2352s, 1802s, 1903s, 2503s, 2509, and now the 2802. We have a fishing boat for you. You know, our trophy line is a complete line.
Absolutely, it's a complete line. No matter what your budget is, no matter what your monthly consideration is, no matter what your family size is, Boaterama has a boat for you. Carlos, great to see you.
See you next week, John.
You got it, buddy.
Now that we have our gel coat into our area that we're going to repair, I'm going to spray some PVA over it and we're going to let it kick off. We've let our gel coat sit overnight. Now we're going to start sanding our gel coat. I'm going to start out with 320. We're going to go from 320 to 600. You want to use a wet and dry sandpaper. This way it cuts down on the dust. We're going to go ahead and leave our tape right on it while I knock the bulk off of it. Start out with 320, you just press right in, and you'll see it start powdering right up on you. Once we get it knocked down level, we'll go ahead and pull our tape off. And then we'll start graduating up with our sandpaper. until we get it nice and smooth. And you want to remember, just keep dipping your sanding block into the water, just keep cleaning out your sandpaper. Just one nice thing about wet sanding. You get a lot of life out of your sandpaper.
How's she looking there, Bert?
That's looking pretty good, John. We'll go ahead and peel some of this tape away. Get it out of our way here.
This is where the good quality masking tape really comes into play.
Yeah, you let it set on in the sun. A lot of your cheaper masking tapes want to kind of just bake right into the hull. Can be a pain to try to get them off later. You want to make sure that you go through your sandpaper grits step by step. You want to start with 320, 400, 500, 600. This takes out any scratches, and it really makes the job look really nice. And that's the reason you're doing it anyway. So go ahead, take the time. Use each grade of sandpaper. And that way when you get done, you've got a really nice looking finished product. All right, we've gone from 320 all the way up to 600 now. Go ahead and hit it with the 600. The 600 is going to take out any scratches that we put in as we've graduated up with our sandpaper. This is really going to smooth it out like glass.
Now, Bert, I can really see the difference in color. Now, you're saying that like within a month, the sun will fade it right back to the original.
This is going to fade it back to, you know, it's going to fade back to its original color, and you're really virtually not going to see this repair.
That's incredible.
Well, we're going to buff out our hull here with some rubbing compound. Really bring this area right out. And then what I think we'll do is we're going to wax our whole hull here. Make this whole boat look really good.
If boating's your game, then you'll agree. Ship shape is the way to be. Out on the lake or on the sea, ship shape means trouble-free. Ship shape means being neater. Ship shape makes boat work easier. Ship shape is the way to go. The Ship Shape Boat Care